Yay. Hello. Welcome to today's coaches chat with Sal. Am I going to get it right? Minty-Gravett. Is that how you? Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining me today. I just had this crazy idea to just do coaches chats, and it's been fun when I chatted with Charlotte and Craig, and I thought it'd be fun to just keep it going. And I was able to get to the Sal's time tonight. So I'll just introduce myself, and then Sal will introduce herself, and then I'll tell you the topics that we're going to chat about, or tonight for her, today for morning for me. So my name's Shannon. Let's see, some of you might know me from Marathon Swim Stories. I also have a business, Intrepid Water, it's kind of evolving over the years, but it's currently offering some kids lessons and coaching, a lot of remote coaching, especially since the pandemic. And recently got on board with Swim Mastery. So I'm doing a lot of Swim Mastery, overhauling some of my own stroke. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Go ahead, Sal.
Okay, well, I'm Sally, and I live in a little island called Jersey in the Channel Islands. I've swum all my life. I don't know what it's like not to be able to swim. So I'm very fortunate in that respect. We're 9 miles by 5, so we're surrounded by beautiful, clean ocean. And as a child, we had swimming lessons in the sea. We didn't have swimming pools to have lessons in. So the sea is my natural habitat. And indoor pools were not built until I was 12, by which time I was already a competitive swimmer and the top of my game at the age of 12. And then more indoor pools started being built and opened, and then swimming changed in Jersey with more swimming clubs coming on board and swimming getting bigger and more competitive. But I was always much happier in the sea. So the first person to swim the channel in Jersey was a girl called Denise Lepenick when she was 16 in 1966. And her coach was a friend of my dad's, and he approached me and said, why don't we just see where we can go in the sea? So I started doing sea swimming and built on that. And then, well, it developed into an amazing long sea swimming career, which is not over yet. It's not, it's there for me. I've been down there today, and I've managed to swim the channel 5 solo swims in 5 different decades of years and my life. I also threw in a 2-way for good measure in 2016. Cliff was on board. And as a result of that, I was president of the long distance swimming club, the local long distance swimming club, for 27 years. And as a result, I was promoting long distance swimming to everybody that was coming on board. I was a swimming teacher in my job, and I brought kids into the club, and that was our future of our club, and that continues today. I left the club as a president in 2015. I was very honored to receive an MBE for my services to long distance swimming because of my 27 years as president. The club is going from strength to strength, which is really nice to see. My late husband and I started up the open water swims, restarted up the open water swims as a little club fundraiser in 1998. Cliff was our first paying customer, and it's just gone from strength to strength as a result of that. So I've coached informally, formally, I've taught formally and informally, all ages, for many, many years. I retired from teaching per se in my job in 2018. I still coach and teach privately, adults in the sea, adults in a pool, and I'm still doing that privately, and I'm teaching kids privately as well. So swimming is in my blood, it's in my heart and my soul. It's what I love to do. I can't see it stopping anytime soon. And that's a little bit about me. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, exactly. It's so amazing. I think the most votes were for the longevity, but we're going to come to that one last. So let's start with the other two topics that I just put up there to just because they came to mind was how to balance pool swimming versus sea swimming, like when you're kind of ramp training. So we can talk about like the evolution of like if you're what you're training for. We can just, I mean, the group is marathon swimming group, so I think we can talk about planning for a general. Let's just say, I mean, so, 10 is if 10 is baseline, we'll say 15 to 20 because 10 is, I feel like, I don't know.
Okay, so there's a place for pool swimming and there's a place for sea swimming. You can't train in cold water properly through the winter. So pool swimming has its place for getting you fit, getting you strong, getting you faster, sorting out your technique. And I'm going to put my hands up because I hate pool swimming. And I try and avoid it.
That a lot.
I try and avoid it as much as I can, but it's a means to an end and you have to do it at some stage.
Yeah.
So I do it because I have to. And sometimes I enjoy it and sometimes I don't, but I know I need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do a lot of pool training and they think that's enough, but it isn't. It's conditioning time. It's winter time. It's sprints. It's technique. And the technique and the sprints are to get you fit, get your cardiovascular swimming fitness up. This time last year, when we didn't have a swimming pool to use, I was actually in the sea every single day through 6 degrees doing 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Wow.
Because there wasn't a pool to use. And so this year, I've had a bit of an emotional roller coaster time and I haven't actually been in the sea very much at all. And I haven't been in a pool very much at all. It's been a bit of a tricky winter for me, but it's all going to correct itself now. I'm back in it. I'm going to be back in it on Monday. You know, there's a lot to be said for good coaching in the pool, but don't flog it to death because that's when you become injured. Yeah. And I think you need to find a good group and train short and sharp, maybe 3 times a week. I don't profess to saying all the time, but a lot of people like to swim every single day because they think they need to. Oh. But a lot of those people will end up being injured because they're doing too much. Agree
100%. Yeah. Yeah, so I think
that's my take. And I will always promote people to go and join a master's club or a swimming club and swim with people to sort their technique out, to get faster, do sprint work. I'm fortunate. I'm a natural swimmer. When I get in the sea, I can do my fartlek training in the sea when it's warm enough and get my swimming fitness up that way. But I will be in the pool now from Monday. I was supposed to be going to France on Saturday, but I can't travel now. So I'll be here doing some stuff in the pool and in the gym. I'll be back in the gym.
Yeah, let's go to that next. But I was just going to chime in a little bit with
yes.
Yeah, I think 2 to 3 days a week is round. And I agree with you with the group. Like, it's really nice to have some, like a touch point, especially because of the roller coasters. I feel like, you know, there's the roller coasters of life, there's the roller coasters of swimming. And I guess maybe there are people that swim every day. And I admire that somebody could have that. But I'm with you. Like, I feel like they'll get injured eventually. And to me, it's more this balance. But there's times when I'm at those low points where having a group to go to is so helpful because you're like, oh, well, at least I'll go and you see some people, some friendly faces, and it kind of can lift you up. And I don't know, like it can be really nice, as well as like there could be some speed work. Like you said, there's coaching can be a mixed bag for what kind of coaching you're getting with a group. Yeah. But sometimes having those the other swimmers around you, it's like it's really
the group dynamics makes it fun.
Yeah.
But there I see people doing 100 hundreds maybe once every week, once a week, and I just
a week.
I wouldn't have the time or the inclination to do that. I think I've done it twice in my life.
Right.
And I was scared both times because the boredom is, I don't know. I mean, it's quite nice when you get into the routine, but you just get so dehydrated and thirsty and Oh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who really love it. So,
Yeah.
you know, let them do it.
Exactly. Yes. There's different strokes for different folks, right?
Absolutely.
But I think it is important to realize though that like that the swimming every day, like depending what you're training for, like it could get like you can get to a point where, especially if your technique isn't good and you're swimming every day, like you could get yourself injured and completely burned out before you ever get to your event.
Yeah. And I'm coaching people who want to do a triathlon or want to do this or want to do that. And so they're now sorting their technique out now, half an hour a week with me and going to practice in between. And the progression in 3 weeks that I've seen is phenomenal, really, because they're determined enough to do it and they're very keen to get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big technique first person, especially when we're talking marathons. It's like you just don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to get injured before you even get to the edge of the lake or river or channel or whatever you're crossing. Like you want to, just don't put yourself in that situation. There's no reason to. There's plenty of people out there willing to help you with technique. So,
yes, and it's very important for a big swim to get to your start line healthy, well rested, and ready to go. You know that a lot of people train too much until their swim happens, and then by the time their swim happens, they're tired and they wonder why they struggle. And I see a lot of people overtraining rather than undertraining, and I'm probably the queen of undertraining, I have to say. My dad,
I don't know. I'm battling you for that one.
my dad always used to say to me, "It's best to be strong and healthy and rested because your swimming will get better as you swim."
Yeah.
So for me, as you swim, I did a Round Island swim last year, and I think a lot of people didn't think I'd done enough training for it, and I just went in and did it, and I had no after effects whatsoever. It was nice. I loved it. It was a very special swim because we sprinkled some of my husband all the way around the island, so it was really
Sal, that's beautiful.
Nice. It was very emotional. It was very nice. I wasn't in a hurry. I just wanted to do it to complete it. And I still had a pretty good time as far as I was concerned for a 64-year-old. So I think it's you have to train your mindset as well, which is really important, which comes in between the pool and the sea swimming. And I'm a great believer that if you don't want to go in, then don't. Sometimes if you wake up and you don't feel like going for a swim and you go for a swim, and sometimes it's a very good swim, but sometimes it can work against you. So you have to know when to stop and when to.
There's this amount of like kind of intuition that should come into each day. That's where, I'm always trying to find this balance of like, it's like, when do you like that, days not, like when do I need to like feel into like, oh, I really do need to swim today, or oh no, I really can't possibly get a swim in today because whatever other factors are affecting you. But I think that it's an important thing that, sometimes if you robotize or try to automate marathon swimming, it's like it can't, there really has to be some more feel that goes into it, because all that emotional roller coaster, like everything, you feel that in your swim too, like you need to be able to have those ups and downs. Like you can't just be on autopilot. You've got to be able to like feel the feelings and get through it, work through, and it's that you need the experience of working through those things. And that's, I think,
you need to be able to kick ass if you need to, excuse my expression, but you need to have those moments where you've still got and that's where the sprint training in the pool helps with your conditioning to be able to do that.
It's interesting, but I love that. I'm so excited. I got goosebumps thinking about your swim around the island last year. It's so lovely.
If you look what Sarah Thomas does for her training, I don't know how she has the time to do it.
I don't know how she's
apart from anything else. She trains phenomenally, but she works 40 hours a week as well as everything else. She's put a post on Facebook today about what she does in a week. And mind you, she is only 34, 35. Right. That really helps. But she's a phenomenal swimmer and a phenomenal person. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just like something else. It's pretty amazing. I can't believe, how much that she swims. But I guess I like to tell people that, there's room for both, like it just coming from being the queen of what I think, or the princess, whatever. I'm like, I'm not where you're at, but I feel like I've definitely gone into things, maybe not feeling like undertrained. I feel like there's the confidence of experience, and like I'm just taking the next kind of logical step. I feel, and trusting that the training I did was the best training that I could do going into that. But
there's a lot of muscle memory that kicks in and helps.
Yes. And knowing you have a stroke that you could just keep going, like that forever stroke. It's like, find your forever stroke and then you do the best you can. And then when I get to the edge, I'm usually like excited and nervous, because why not be? But like being excited to go do it versus like, oh, like another swim after, like that. Just I worry about the people that like I feel like we're saying they're overtraining, but then there's people like Sarah Thomas who, maybe you and I would consider that overtraining, but obviously it serves her very well. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's do the next topic was dryland. Do you have to do dryland, Sal? What's your experience with that? Have you gone in and out of it over the years?
Yeah, no, I tend to do it through the winter, and I have a little circuit I do at home, which lasts about 20 minutes, where I do some squats, I do some press ups, I do stomach work, core strength. I do some kettlebell work to just strengthen my shoulders. And the whole idea of that is injury prevention. It's not weight training per se. It's strengthening your upper body, strengthening your shoulders to allow you to swim without injury. So that, if you feel a bit achy after a swim, that's a good thing, but you don't want to tear anything. So you need all these tendons and shoulders and arms and biceps and triceps and muscles and tendons all need to be strong, so that you can just keep going, because it is all about a swim and just keep swimming, and if you haven't got that strength, something's going to go.
Right. Yeah. Having those little like minor muscle groups. I always talk to people about getting the minor muscle groups, strengthened, because the big ones we use all the time when we're swimming, but it's sometimes you need the complementary muscle groups up to snuff so that you're not overcompensating.
Yeah. And you need to do your triceps a lot of tricep work and shoulders.
Yeah. Right. Has there been over the decades of swimming, was there ever a time that you just kind of like let the dry land like slide and
Well, yes, there has, but I kind of I correct it again and I start back. This winter's not been a brilliant winter for me. I've just started back and doing it now, and that'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll just all the muscle memory, because I was doing classes until I went away. I've been away for 2 weeks, and I was doing stuff until I went away. And then when I was away, I had a horrible chest infection.
Oh, no.
So it's laid me a bit low. I'm just getting back to strength now, which it's fine. I'm fine. But it all restarts for me on Monday, big time again, classes and swimming. So I'll be fine. I've got plenty of time. I've got another Channel Swim book. My 6th solo swim is booked in August this year. It was supposed to be 2020. Then it was postponed to last year. Didn't happen. So now hopefully we'll get it done this year and put it to bed finally.
Yes, right. So I guess my take on dryland, it's the thing that you can do, like even like if there's a pandemic, right? You can still do your dryland.
Yeah, and I did a lot through the pandemic because there was nothing else to do. So I have a little dog that takes up a lot of my walking time, and we walk 3 times a day, and he keeps me on my toes. And I try and do my little circuit at least once a day if I can. And even on my 2-way year, I was doing that every day, even to the morning of my swim.
Really? Yeah.
Just because it was a routine I'd got into first thing in the morning, and I just kept that routine going. So that's the plan on Monday, is to get back into that little routine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have the ebbs and flows of my routine as well.
Yes. Well, I think we
So
all
you
do.
have your little,
We're all human,
right.
and yeah. So,
Yeah,
and you mustn't beat yourself up if you can't do it. You
right.
just have to pick it up again the next day.
Mm-hmm. So other than your little circuit, has there been any other kind of like, I don't know, yoga or Pilates or
Yes, I do
plank
Pilates.
or
I
all that?
do like a body sculpt class.
Hmm.
I was doing spinning, but I've got a bit of a sore knee, so I'm not doing spinning at the moment. I
Hmm.
love dancing. I like to do dance classes. I did a 2-hour Zumbathon on Sunday.
Wow.
Charity Zumbathon. That was great fun because that's all kind of tribal dance and stuff. So that was
Mhm.
great.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, if it's cross training, so you don't
Yeah,
overdo things, it's very important. It makes it more fun. You use lots of different muscles through the body, so you're toning everything up and strengthening everything, but without overdoing it.
right.
And I'm a great believer in that, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like to, especially too, we were talking a little bit about the pool versus open water and preseason, off season, but I think that there's like even like terrestrial based enduring can carry over into swims, like that, like going to, spin class and working through the hard parts of a spin class or rowing or hiking or walking, it's
Yes,
like any amount of it, like enduring, I feel like it's good mental, I guess it's mental training really, but it
it's
felt
also
like you
good.
said,
Yeah, and
cross.
it's good for your cardiovascular system. It's good for all the muscles in your body. And it'll strengthen things that you might not do otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like to mix it up. And I guess for me, I find that there's always, I'll get out of a routine of like just doing kind of yoga just as a way to move my body. And I'll go to, I've been in one of these like slumps. I went to a yoga camp in January and then somehow I've done it like twice since January. Like, what happened? I was at a camp for a whole week doing yoga twice a day and now I've not managed to do it. But anyway, my point is, I got back to doing some yoga just the other day, just like a 10-minute restorative yoga. I use an app, but I was like, oh my God, like I feel like it makes my joints, like it makes everything flow better in my body just to be moving it. It's like the sitting, standing, walking, even if I even had a great week of swimming, but I wasn't doing the other movements that you need to do to just like get your tissues flowing. So it's really important to do. Yeah. Okay, and for our last topic today, how the heck, Sal, do you swim for 6 decades? How do you keep at it?
Well, it never started out that way. I have to
Right.
say there was no plan. It's just happened. I did a channel swim and then my brother did a channel swim and then I was asked to do another one and I couldn't, so he did. So there was a bit of still sibling rivalry there because he'd done it twice. And then I went to Canada to be a nanny and I came back and my mum passed away while I was away. And then I decided to do a second channel swim in her memory.
Mhm.
But it happened to be 10 years after my first one. So then my brother and I were the only brother and sister at that time that had done 2 channel swims. And then life got in the way and I got married and I started a business. And so things changed. And I always had this hankering to do a France-England swim. My second
They
swim,
allowed you to, right? Yeah.
my second swim was supposed to be France-England, but it couldn't be. So I had
Oh,
to do
that's
France.
right.
So that was 1985. So I still had this hankering to do a France-England swim. And then in 1991, I was looking after some boys and a chap said to me that I'm thinking of building a swimming pool. Would you like to run it? And so that pays for it. And I went, yes, please, because I'd always wanted to have my own swimming school. And I thought, okay, let's do another channel swim. And on the back of that, I'll promote my swimming school. And it was a France-England swim. So in 1992, which is the next decade, I managed to do a France-England swim. It was the penultimate year they allowed France-England swims because they stopped them in 1993. And I started my business in 1993, which I ran for 10 years. And I'd done 2 England-Frances and a France-England. And then I thought, okay, well, I would love to do another France-England to say I'd done 2 of each. And at the opening, I was headhunted to run a swimming school in a local new pool that was being built in 2003. And at the opening ceremony, the managers that were there from England found out that I wanted to do another channel swim. But as I've just said, we couldn't do another France-England. And the only way you could do a France-England swim was to do a two-way.
Yeah.
You'd have to go from England to France and back to England. So the managers said to me at the opening in 2003, we'll pay for your two-way. I went, okay. And then, so I started my job as the aquatics development manager, but that ended up taking up probably 50, 60 hours a week of my time.
Well, I bet.
And there was no way I could do the training for a two-way. But in 2005, I booked a swim with my pilot. I booked a one-way, but he said to me that if you turn around, you can have the second leg for free because I'll do it for charity. And I went, okay. So the plan was to go in with an open mind and maybe turning around and coming back. It was a pretty tough swim. I was really poorly for a lot of that swim. And I got to France in 13 and a half hours. I sprinted in at the end. And my pilot said to me, you're in a great place. You can turn around. And I went, I'd been sick for 9 hours. I had nothing inside me. I finished very strongly on an empty stomach. But I said, there's no way I can turn around and go back. So there's the fourth decade swim, which just happened to be another one-way. So I still had this thing about doing a two-way. And then the business carried on and I started working more and more hours. And then in 2012, a mutual friend decided she was going to go for a two-way. And I said, right, well, I'll book my two-way as well. So I booked a two-way slot in 2013. And so did the other lady. And she wanted me to go first because she knew I wanted to do it first. But it was a really long, another very tough, emotional, vomiting swim.
Oh, no.
It took 17 hours and 40 something minutes to get to France.
Oh, man.
It was on a big spring tide and there was absolutely no way I was going to be able to turn around. So I did another one way and that's my fifth solo decade.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately booked a two-way as soon as I got out the water with a different pilot because my pilot couldn't take me for 2014. The other lady went and she did her two-way, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
So 2014, I never even got to Dover because the weather was so bad. 2015, I went to Dover and couldn't get in the water because the weather was so bad. I then left presidency of the Long Distance Swimming Club. I resigned as aquatics development manager, but stayed on as a teacher so that 2016 was going to be my year that I could focus on me and take some time out of work and, responsibilities so I could train and concentrate on this two-way, which I ended up doing in 2016. But before I did that, I actually put the deposit down for this next six decade solo swim for 2020.
Yeah.
So I'd already paid the deposit before I got in the water for that. So this is what I've got to get done now, put it to bed. So that's how it's happened. It's not.
You just have to keep booking out for the next decade.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is supposed to be my retirement channel swim, and it's going to be a memory of my husband. So we'll see. We'll never say never, but at the moment, I'm planning it to be a retirement channel swim. And we'll just hope that that's going to happen. Yeah.
I think it's hard for someone to get as early of a start as you did to get the 6 decades in. Like you had quite
I don't think there's anybody else that would be physically able to do that unless they started, because you have to be 16 now to do a channel swim. I was 18 when I did my first one, but as I say, I didn't plan to do this. It just turned out that way. You know, and I'm very fortunate that through the years, I've really never had injuries in my shoulders. I've only had a bit of tendonitis.
Right. That's good. Good shoulder care. Good balance. Right. That's great.
Yeah. So, so that's, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend anybody did it that way, but it just happened. It's just happened. It's just evolved that way.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, you started out by telling us, swimming's in your blood, so it's
Heart and my soul.
you always go back to the sea.
Absolutely.
So I
Yep.
guess that's maybe you don't have to swim for 6 decades so much as I think just that foster that love.
Yeah, and there have been years that I just swim and play with the kid, not play with the kids, but swim with the children and encourage the children rather than swim for me. And I spent a long time as president doing that, because when you're in that position, you can't really focus on yourself. And the years that I did, I had to step back from the presidency. So I did spend a long time encouraging others and not doing stuff for myself, but just having fun. And that's what I want to go back to. I want to be able to just swim for fun and just do it.
Yeah. We all should just be doing it for fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that's probably a good a stopping point as any. It was so lovely to chat with you today, Sal. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we do have a minute or two. Is there anybody who wants to come off mute and ask Sal or I a question?
Is Cliff asleep?
Yeah, he's getting on to bedtime there. No, he's awake.
You're muted, Cliff. You're muted. Unmute you.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been privileged to be on a couple of Sally's channel swims, and I've known her since '92 when she came over to Dover to do that. Hang on, second or third channel, Sally?
Third, France, England.
Yeah. So and I met her late father Leslie and her late husband Charlie, and we've been friends ever since. So I went to do a relay round Jersey in '94, and I said to Sally, when I eventually get across the channel, I'd like to come back and do a round Jersey. And as she alluded to earlier, I came over. The club had just decided to introduce medicals and channel swimming rules to their Round Island swims, and by accident, not design, I happened to be the first person. So all the years I've known Sally, and when I've been on her swims, I knew that she wanted to do this two-way, and I think her two-way took 39 hours.
36 hours, 26. Wendy was 39.
That's right. Wendy was 36, 26. And she landed at Folkestone, face planted on the sea, half in and half out of the water.
Very funny.
Lay there. And we said, Sal, you've got to clear the water. And she crawled a couple of feet to clear the water, and we screamed at the observer and pilot, she's there, she's there. And I have to say, it was an astonishing achievement for her to do that, because in swimming terms, she's obviously very ancient, like practically prehistoric. And
not as old as you, Cliff.
And yet still she has this last channel swim in her, and we sadly weren't able to do it last year. We went over twice to do it, but this year I'm utterly convinced that if the weather gods play with us, then there's no reason why she can't get that ambition and have a lot of closure. I think she'll swim until she pops her clogs, but there is a certain time when you want to close something down, and that's what she tried to do last year and was thwarted, and I'm absolutely sure that she'll do it this year. So, and I'm on her boat, so I can't wait to
fingers crossed. Yes,
do that. Yeah,
that'll be a lot of fun. And if you haven't heard Cliff's marathon swim story, I highly recommend it. Marathon, as well as Sal's.
It's a very good story.
Yes. Well, you both.
We did that in the pandemic, didn't we? It must have been over a year ago when we.
I think so. Yeah. Well, you can find them all at marathonswimstories.com. Just search for Cliff Golding. His is a good one. How many times did it take? What'd you say, Sal? Sorry.
So there's a lot of good stories on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I just interviewed Vicki Keith. That's a spoiler for the next one that'll be coming out. Oh my gosh, it was amazing to talk to her as well. She's
a phenomenal swimmer.
Yeah. Okay, well, on that note, you guys have a lovely evening over on the other side of the ocean. I'm going to go on to a lesson. With
Thank you, Shannon. Thank
and
you for your time.
good to see you.
Yeah, and
I'll
you'll put this as a recording, will you? And I
Yep.
can share the link.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, we'll
Great.
do. All righty. Bye,
Nice
guys.
to see you, Faye. Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Liz. Thank you. Thanks. Bye.